Welcome to Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, the podcast dedicated to the commercial food equipment repair industry. My name is Pat Finley. I'm a lead master certified technician at General Parts Group. My goal is to shine a light on what I believe to be one of the most interesting and rewarding industries a field service technician can work in. I love the work I do, and I'm glad you're here listening to this podcast. In this episode, I talk with Adrian Garcia from Reliable HVACR. The Commercial Kitchen Chronicles podcast is proudly sponsored by Viega and the Viega Trades Education Network. Viega is a leader in press technology and a large supporter of trade education through the V10 program. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. Tonight, it's just myself, but I was fortunate enough to have Adrian come on. Adrian Garcia with Reliable HVACR. You guys should all know Adrian by now. If not, you must be sleeping under a rock. So thanks for coming on, Adrian. I know it was kind of short notice, but
yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on. I just got out of work and I'm here now.
Got out of work and still at 100 degrees in South Texas.
Yeah, I'm already tired of it, dude. It's like summer most of the year, and we've had right now I'm doing maintenance. I'm just like sick of doing that already, and then compressors left and right just going out.
Nice. I've done a couple
Yeah, it's good. It's good money. You can't complain, right? But get tired of it.
Yeah. So I noticed like when I start doing more social media stuff, I want to work less because I want to like focus on editing and get some other stuff going. But I know
Yeah.
one to feed the other because I'm not making anything off this. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have fun doing it, but I don't make the money to pay the bills off this. So I got to keep working too.
Oh, definitely. And people, they don't understand that sometimes that we have a real job, and then like us that's in the trades, whether it's like, the content creators you see that are in HVAC or plumbing, there's a bunch of good ones across the board. But you got to remember those guys do that after work, after they get out, free time on their weekends. So all that stuff is like a second job basically.
Yeah. I mean, I said that, at the HVAC Tactical Awards last year when I won, I was like, I'm taking my wife because, I wasn't joking when I say she'd ask me to watch TV and I'd sit on the couch and edit videos. I mean, I wouldn't even pay attention to TV. I'd just sit there and it'd be, the extent I'm sitting next to her, but I'm not there. I'm not present in the moment. I'm face down on my phone, editing videos, replying to messages and stuff. If you don't have a supportive spouse behind you, and friends, you're not going to make it, man.
Yeah, my girlfriend's been a big help too. Kind of getting me through, actually like going through with posting or keeping afloat, because like you said, like it takes a lot of time, and then you might not be present in the moment. Now you need extra time to do your editing, getting things together. It's a brand that you build. It's like another little company. I've always liked to think of it as a kind of like a business. You're building it up. uh Everybody wants to make money off of what they do online too, so it's not like it. I mean, it's for fun. I do it for fun. I started it because it was fun, but like there's always going to be like an end goal there with it. If not, I mean, we wouldn't do it, honestly. It's to help people, and it's also to build a brand, of business, as you go.
Yeah, dude, there's days when I first started this, it wasn't bad. And then I started getting a little more serious. I'm like, man, this is like a second full time job. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, and I didn't have no sponsors. I was begging people to come on the show, and I still beg people to come on the show. But like, I was like begging for anything, just like I felt weird asking. It's like, just to put something out there, it's like it's a second full time job. And I tried to get my wife and my younger son to help out, and he was going to start editing some stuff, and he's kind of just like, yeah, I'm over it. I'm going to do something else. So, but it's just me.
Yeah, I was fortunate that I did this when we had a lot of downtime. So honestly, I started at the end of 2020. So I just been like we had work. I mean, don't get me wrong, we had quite a bit of work,
Mhm.
but like we were really limited on our time. Like there was like the lockdown, the curfews, like all this other stuff. And at the time I was living alone, so like I had all the time in the world. So I was like, I saw Tito, I saw Chris Stevens, and I binge watched a lot of that stuff because I had free time. I wanted to learn more about, what I do at work, because they do like some of the same stuff that I see. And then I was like, like I like editing. I like photo editing, recording stuff here and there, because I've always been I guess like a tech nerd too. Like I'm good with computers. I did all the branding logos, advertising, everything for our business, with my dad. I did all that stuff for him because he didn't know how to do any of that stuff. He was like, I need a business card, I need a logo, I need the van wrapped. And there I go on my computer and I'm designing the stuff, making the logos, finding somewhere to get all this printed out or done. And I was like, I can do some of that, and that turned into the social media thing, then that turned into the YouTube thing, and it's been fun.
Yeah, man, you were absolutely killing it, dude. I mean, I followed you probably from the get go as soon as you came about. Like I said, I had a personal Instagram, and I followed a lot of guys, and I transitioned over to making one for my work stuff, and just
Yeah.
kind of from there. But I've always been a huge fan of you, Chris Steven, Tito. I mean, everybody, all the original guys, dude. And I'm like, it's a cool community, man. I've met all these people. I've met you. I've met Chris. I've met Rick from HVACR Survival. I mean, I've met so many Gil Cave. I met some of these guys, and they're like really my friends. Like I have their phone numbers in my phone. Like I can
Yeah.
text them. I'm they'll reply if I have a question. I can call them up. They'll answer a question. I mean, Gil gives me advice on podcasts and stuff like that. And, it's just an amazing group of people that are really out there. And these guys are approachable, though. That's the great thing. I mean, they'll talk to you, answer your questions. It's great.
Yeah, man. Like, even before I started posting. Oh, thanks, Bill. Even before I started posting, I was like, I need help with a few things here and there, and I was like, I would sometimes second guess some of the work that I was doing, or some of the issues I've seen. Because sometimes you go to a customer, like in refrigeration or HVAC or whatever it is that you do. You go to a customer and they give you that famous line that's like, "Well, it was working before, make it work," and I'm like, "No, it's either not installed right, it's not, there's something wrong with the unit." So I would go and ask Chris Stevens, the Ricks, Rick from HVACR Survival, Steve, all these guys, and they're really quick to answer. And I was nobody at the time, and I'm asking them questions about work, and they're like, "No, I think this, or I think that, or this is wrong, or yeah, you're right about that." And it was a big help just on a technical level because I could ask them questions that I don't maybe know because I don't have somebody locally that I can talk to about it. You can go online now, go on YouTube, go on Instagram. I even found some good guys over on TikTok. And if you have questions about, the stuff that you're seeing or stuff that you don't know, you can go and ask, and they're willing to help you, no matter who you are.
Yeah, I stumble upon some guys on TikTok all the time. I mean, I love the refrigeration man 8888. I think he's out in like Oklahoma or something. He's just like kind of like a little roughneck dude, and he's just out here killing it. But I mean, he takes pride in what he does, but he jokes around quite a bit too. He's a pretty funny dude. Um,
Yeah, the whole TikTok space is funny because it's a lot of like comedy or it's quick content. You're scrolling quicker on TikTok than on any of the other platforms. So I don't think I've seen that guy, but I've come across like so many that do the funny stuff or do the quick tips. And there's so much like information out there. Like there's a group on YouTube, there's a group on TikTok, there's a group on Instagram, and I'm sure there's more out there. I just haven't, it's hard to see them all. There's so many content creators now for the trades, and it's a good thing to see though.
yeah, it's an absolutely great thing to see. I mean, try to get it out there. I mean, I did a career fair last week at my youngest son's school. My oldest son actually graduated from there too. And me and my oldest son, he's one of my apprentices. He's been here a year. We actually went in there and did career day. He got out of work for the day, and I was like, "Hey, make sure you're wearing a work shirt." So this fool shows up in some Jordans, some white shorts, and a black Unlimited Service Group T-shirt. He's like, "I'm wearing a work shirt." I was like, "But you're wearing shorts, dude. There's this gonna go to corporate. You look like you're a student here, dude." But it was pretty
That's
cool.
funny.
We had a lot of interest from the juniors and seniors didn't want nothing to do with us, but the younger ones, the junior high kids, 7th through 10th, those kids were interested, and I had fun with it. I mean, I wasn't getting a lot of interest. So they'd come by, and I'd take the press tool, and I had the RLS press tool out there, and I'd make it go off, and the kids would be like, they'd be freaking out because it's making noise. Like, what's that? So I'd explain to them, what it is and what it does, and it was a really cool experience. I had a blast. I started messing around with kids and started joking with them. And once I got comfortable, it was a cool thing to do. So I look forward to doing more stuff like that. But it's just trying to get the trades out there, dude. It it's so weird that no one knows exactly, especially, your family's a kitchen business. I mean, you just happen to do the refrigeration HVAC side of it. Your dad does
Yeah.
the cooking side of it. You guys are a small business. You're out there killing it. But like, people don't know this industry really exists. They know about HVAC guys, they know about plumbers, they know about electricians. But when it comes to guys going into restaurants, they're like, oh, that's a job? Like, dude, if you knew how much money I make doing this, you'd second guess, that comment.
Yeah, man, and that's why I really appreciate it, and I supported what you did
Mhm.
because that's something that I see my dad doing. It's something that I started in. I was a helper. I was I went to get parts and changed out, little things like thermal piles, high limits, knobs, all the little things. And he taught me how to check, like for like a routine maintenance and stuff like that, because they do a lot of the inspections and stuff. When they come down and check on them and stuff there we were always out there, and we've always and we've been fortunate enough to be uh or to have a lot of good work because we have a lot of like chains. So like you get one of these customers, they give you like 10 to 20 stores. We've been fortunate enough for that. And I learned really quick, inspection time gets really busy. We got to check, this or that. And then I started in it. So like I said, I appreciate what you are doing by putting it out there because like you said, there is a spotlight on the HVAC more so than like hot side
Mhm.
kitchen work, and it's a little more dirty. It's a little dirtier than the regular HVAC work that they see.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'll record something and it's greasy, nasty. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be cool. And then in the background, you hear the music for the store, and it says, it's an ad for the store, or on the ground the entire time's a cup. It's black and gold, and people go, oh, I know where that's at. That's Buffalo Wild Wings. So I can't put that video out there because it shows
Yeah,
a mess or something. It's not going to portray the customer in the best light. So, dude, I got a phone full of stuff I can't even use. I'm like, I just need to like pluck like a bunch of B-roll stuff out of there. I see Rick on HVAC Survival sometimes. He's like blurs stuff. I'm like, man, it's got to be a pain in the butt to do, man.
yeah, I've tried doing that. He's actually caught some of mine where I forgot to blur something, because it's everywhere. There's
Mhm.
their signs or their deals for the day. Like you said, a lot of their stuff is they have their logo on everything, right?
A stamped
So
a stamped napkin on the ground can give away where you're at.
yeah,
I'm like, this is stupid.
exactly. So he caught me on a few of those that he's like, oh, you should blur that out. So I've been trying to do that. That's why a lot of mine I just record outside if I'm on the roof or something like that, or if I'm inside a walk-in box, then I can do something in there too. But they're all pretty distinct. If a guy works in one, they know that like, oh, I've been there. I know what that is. So you got to be careful.
That was like my funnest thing to do was watching Chris Stevens videos, is like guessing where he's at, because like, oh, that's a Red Robin. That's this. That's this. And, like, I'm just like naming where he's at just because I've been in them.
Yeah.
I always like,
And it's kind of funny though, because some people do guess like based on tiles and stuff on my videos.
dude,
I'm
I
like, well, you're close, but it's actually, a different, it's fast food, but it's a different fast food chain. But yeah, that people try to guess all the time.
yeah, I can almost pick up just about any restaurant by the tiles. Um, now that a lot of them are going to like the epoxy floors, it's kind of hard, but
Oh yeah.
I'm sick of tiles busting up. So under fryers, that grease. Ever since they went to that trans fat free oil, man, that stuff like eats grout, eats tile, eats board that holds it down. Dude, I've got stores where you can't pull the fryers out because the tile's gone, and the wheels on the fryer are flat. There's flat spotted from sitting so long, and then you can't drag them out. It's just a nightmare.
Yeah, like you said, like it doesn't put them in a good light if you're posting that stuff, and it sucks, but that's the reality because they're gonna be, especially fast food or anything that does a lot of fried foods. There's no way to get it all out. Like we've tried really hard to do like maintenance on some of them. We try to clean as much as we can, and it gets in everything. And I remember when I used to be in those tight kitchens. Now I do more of these open style fast food areas. They're not so close to the fryers or there's a big open space or something like that. But I remember being in those cramped kitchens and then being like, you get your skin on something on a unit that has some oil or grease on it. It just sticks to you, and then you're trying to peel it off, get it all over your clothes. Like it's a nightmare to get off. But that's kitchen. refrigeration, that's kitchen work. It's part of the job description.
Oh, it's a blast. I love it, man, because you never know what you're going to get into. It's, when I first started, I did hot side only. I didn't want to do refrigeration. Then I want to do refrigeration. I just keep growing. I want to do more and more and more. And it's just the variety. You never know. You never know who you're going to see, what the problem is. You may work on 4 fryers in one day, but you may work on 4 different manufacturers that may do it 4 different ways. I mean, it's just the variety is what really keeps me intrigued and keeps me wanting to come back every day.
And it's a challenge, just like how I like to be challenged on what I do in the HVAC world. My dad deals with that too, and they get a lot of fryers that they have computers and everything now.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of guys don't recognize or can't go from one brand to another and troubleshoot it. My dad ends up having to, he learned all this stuff. He was an electrician that came over to the food service industry because he had an opportunity and they wanted him at this business, and he took it. He learned on his own. He went to all the trainings. I remember he flew out a lot to get these in-person trainings and stuff. And it's a challenge too on the food service side because like everything is constantly changing. Like I said, you got computers in there now. A lot of guys don't know how to work on this stuff or not. They're not trained properly. So my dad has had to go behind people, and it's always something simple or something that could have been addressed the first time. But like you got to really be on top of your game, even on the kitchen side. And that's why he gets, like you said, he gets the big bucks. That hot side keeps us in business, even if my side of the business is slow or anything like that. Like the food service side is never slow. Like they're cooking all year round. They need that's what they need to keep the customers coming. That's the main part of it is these restaurants, fast food change, fast food chains, and all that stuff. He's actually been asked to come out 5-6 hours because the company out there couldn't figure it out or something like that. So either way, you got to be on top of your game. It's a good business to be in. And honestly, like without that side, we wouldn't be making as much as we are.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I started off as an electrician too, so that's really cool hearing your dad, started the same way.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as him, man. Like I drove 4 hours to work on a food truck for a Chick-fil-A. The fryers were some test fryers for a unit. They're hooked to the internet. They're having issues. I drove there, worked on it for an hour and a half. Then I followed this food truck 2 hours further away from where I was at and watched them cook until they ran out of food, and then drove 5.5 hours home. The manufacturer paid all of it. I was like, you just
Hmm.
paid me like 15 hours. And all I did was like, I made a couple adjustments and the thing ran perfect. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, well, our guys there couldn't figure it out. So we needed you. So, all right, I'll take it, man. It's fun. When you have customers or manufacturers that reach out and want that out of you, it's like, yeah, it starts the ego a little bit. It makes you happy. So,
Yeah, I'm really proud of my dad for starting this business.
uh,
Like I said, he didn't know this trade specifically. Like he came from being an electrician. He wanted to, or he was given an opportunity to do this, the hot side, the kitchen work, and he took it. And then he became, head honcho at his business. He was, or at that other company, because they wanted him in charge of everything. He took over that company. Now he didn't like it because he's not a guy that can be in the office all the time. They wanted him, and they would get after him to stop going out. That they needed him in the office. They needed him overlooking everything, and that's what kind of drove him to open up his own business. But he learned all that on his own. He took it, ran with it, worked his way up. He was like I forget what, I don't know if it's Safesa or one just here with the company he was at, but he won awards. He was like tech of the year and all that stuff. So super proud of him. Like I said, I started on that side, and it's a big part of our business, and it keeps us busy. Even if, like, let's say I don't get any AC calls, for a few days or something, we're always gonna have that hot side. I do think, because people ask me, is it good to know both, or good to know, or a good trade to be in? Food service is just one of those things that will always be in demand.
Nasty wants to know where you got that shirt
At reliablehvacr.net.
at. Go get that plug in there. Yeah.
Of
So
course.
when COVID hit, like everyone freaked out, like, oh, all these restaurants are going to close, and some
Yeah.
closed, some didn't. But dude, they told us like, okay, we don't want the guys to go out working much hours, 32 to 35 hours, where would the guys stay at? Dude, I worked more hours when COVID came than I ever had. Like, I was working like 65, 70-hour weeks. And then all of a sudden, someone's seen it at corporate and is like, hey, you got to stop this. He can't work these hours. We don't want these guys working like this. And they're like, well, the other guys only want to work 4 days a week. He wants to work. Our customers need us. And they just kind of let me be.
Yeah.
I never slowed down. I got busier with it. It was a different environment though. I mean, you go into restaurants, there's nobody in there. They were drive through only or delivery, or they come out to the car.
It was
So
so nice.
yeah, because you could just do whatever. They had music blasting in there. They were just having fun.
Yeah.
Environment. Yeah, I still remember the first time I pulled up to a Taco Bell and it said dining room closed, drive through, and food delivery orders only. And I was like, here we go. And it was
It
weird.
was such a weird time, but like I'm an introvert, or I like being by myself a lot, so I love the hell out of it. Uh, nobody was in your way. You could work on anything. It was really nice to work during that time. It was a little scary, obviously, but we had the same, down here where, I mean, obviously they did a lockdown, they did a whole curfew thing, but like, they were like, we need you to come out here because we're still gonna do, like you said, drive through or pickup. This stuff ain't gonna fix itself. So we still had a bunch of work. It might have slowed down for like a week at the most while they were trying to figure out, all the rules and everything. But the next week, we were out there and we stayed busy. But I think state to state it might have been different because like people in California told me that it kind of sucked over there, that they had like real lockdowns and they weren't working. But like here in Texas, we stayed, like I said, maybe a week at the most off, trying to figure things out, and then right back to it. And I was working like late nights and everything during that time.
Yeah, I'm like you. People are like, "Oh, you're on the internet. You must be a people person." I'm like, "No, man. This is like completely like foreign to me. Like, this is a lot." So the first time with the AHR, I wouldn't talk to nobody. I followed Hughes, your HVAC around. Dave, I just like followed around like a lost puppy dog because I didn't know what I was doing. He was like, "Go over here and talk to him. Go over here and talk to him," like shooing me off. It really helped me come out of like my shell. But like, really, my normal mode is like, leave me alone. I'm just gonna do my thing and go, which is kind of weird because I train a lot of new people, but it's just, I don't know. I'd rather just be left alone and get to it.
And that's like how I am too. And um I'm a little bit spoiled because like like you said, you do training and stuff like that where you have to, but like I work for myself. I could just, do my own thing and not ever talk to anybody. But I had to learn that side of it, of the business, from my dad because he is such a people's person.
Mm-hmm.
He walks in these places and like immediately he's like, we're best friends, best friend with this person, that person, the cooks, the waiters, the managers, the area managers. Everybody knows my dad and always ask me, "Hey, where's your dad? Where's your dad?" Like that's the type of person he is. And I had to learn that I'm not as good as he is. Like I'll never be like, or I mean, I'll always try to be, but I'm not like him. But I had to learn that, and I had to be friendly. I had to open up, go and talk to these managers and anybody, cooks, waiters, for a little bit. You get there, what's going on, or how's business, how's this, how's it going, how's your day going, anything like that. And then before you leave, talk to them, see if they're happy. And I always tell people, because we run a business, they're like, I'm thinking of opening a business, what, like, some advice that I would give them and stuff like that. And that's one of them, right? Is talking to everybody, because a lot of the questions I get are like, how do I get more business? Well, if you talk to these cooks, these waiters, funny thing is, they're all looking for promotions. They're all going to be a manager at some point. They're all going to be working at another location if they're not happy there, or they get relocated, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to be like, hey, this guy was really cool to me. He did great work. I want him at this location. So that's another thing that people might not think about is like, yeah, we have to be people persons. I don't know how to say that, but we have to be friendly with everybody as that customer service side. But then it also benefits you when you get recommendations, referrals, and stuff like that. So there's a good side to both parties, I guess.
Yeah, I tell everybody, everyone's like, "Oh, you're a totally different person with your uniform on." I'm like, "Yeah, that's my superhero costume, man." And I am like, if I have that uniform on, I try to be nice to everybody because you represent the company. You know it is.
Oh yeah,
You wear your uniform or your T-shirt, whatever you wear, and it's branded for Reliable Kitchen. And you like, hey, I gotta go in here, I gotta put this face on, and you don't want to be
yeah,
mad. You don't want to be mean to somebody, and they see that name on your company, your shirt, and they go out there and blast you for being mean. And dude, I have a blast now. At first, it was rough, and my son's the same way. He's been doing it a year, and he's getting a little better, but he's still like, he's 20 years old. He's just like, I don't want to talk to people. I'm kind of, it is what it is. But it's just you have to interact with these people, man. And there's nothing better than like sitting on a cook's line and people are cracking jokes and shit, and like
yeah,
you try to like stick one in there and see if they catch it and see if they interact. And if they interact, you're like, okay, I'm in. So and you start joking around and goofing off. And I have a lot of fun though with this job. I mean, I'll joke with the little lunch ladies to the teenagers on the line flipping burgers or whatever. I'll play around with anybody, but once I'm home, it's like leave me alone.
yeah. And that's kind of the environment that I'm seeing too. Is like you go in there and the cooks want to talk to you. They'll joke around with you, and it's just a matter of you like engaging in that conversation. Because like before, I'm just here to fix something. I don't want to talk. And you open up and they're nice to you as long as you're nice to them. They might feed you, they might give you a little something, but um, that's what it's about. And like you said, like you're wearing the business name at that point wherever you work. So if they don't if they don't like you, if there's something wrong, or they catch, or they just they'll talk about you basically. Because
Mm-hmm.
I've had that happen too. They go to my dad and they're like, "Well, this guy, he was here and he took off. I mean, he fixed it, but he didn't say anything to us, or he didn't talk to us, or something like that." Like I've gotten those complaints before,
Mm-hmm.
and it was weird to me. And I'm like, "All right, next time I'll strike up a conversation or something."
Yeah, I try to over communicate. Anything I've done, like, hey, who's in charge? And then you explain to them, like, oh, I'm just a shift manager. I'm like, well, I asked who was in charge. Well, I'm a shift manager. I'm like, do you pay the bill? Well, no, let me get somebody else. And so I try to tell as many people as possible as I can, just because I've had people calling, well, your guy didn't check out. Well, I put on my paperwork now. I talked to Chris, I talked to Mike, I talked to Adrian. So I talked to 3 people, ask them 3 people, and, they'll go, oh, yeah, he did check out. Then it's good. Just
Yeah,
cover your butt. I mean, Jason always talks about, CYA, over explaining things and talking to stuff. And, you brought up the you never know where someone's going to end up. And Rich is a huge fan of that. Dude, he's had people follow him around from restaurant to restaurant and call him. And it's a humongous part of it.
yeah, we've had that. It's happened time and time again. Like somebody will call us, and then like we meet up with them to either give out a quote or do a walkthrough of their restaurant or whatever it is. And then I see them and I'm like, man, you look so familiar. They're like, yeah, I used to be the cook over here at this location. I'm like, dude, like, what's up? And you never know, because these guys, they work up, or they get in there. You might see them as a cook. The next time you see them, they're a manager. Or a lot of hospital work that we do here, the people in charge, they get relocated. So then like a couple cities over, we start getting calls from another hospital, and it's the same person that we had at this other location. And referrals and recommendations go a long way.
Yeah, man, word of mouth is your biggest sale. I mean, it can make you or break you.
Oh yeah.
It just take care of your customers and try to be as nice as you can, and everything else kind of fits into place. So I believe
Yeah,
that.
there's no hiding unless you go in unmarked vans, unmarked uniforms, like you said, good or bad. So if you're bad if your customer service is bad, then they're gonna know that. They're gonna be like, this company is not friendly, doesn't, communicate well, stuff like that. So when you put that uniform on and you go out there, you gotta make sure that you represent it to the best of your ability.
Yep, yep. Always stay humble. So I man, I've seen guys going there with the biggest attitudes, and they can fix everything, but you know what? Piss off the customers, and they don't want you back. I mean, yeah, just so you fix it doesn't mean they care for you or care to have you back. So
There's different things that I've learned talking to these, especially the managers and stuff, the ones that hire you. I go in there and I went to school and I learned a lot on my own, and I felt really good. I felt pretty cocky at times, and you know, being able to fix anything. And a lot of times I was going behind people and fixing things, so I felt really good about myself. But the customers don't want to see that cockiness too much, or they don't want you to bash on previous companies or anything like that. So before I would be like, "Oh, this company did this, you know, I fixed it this way or whatever." I had to kind of tone that down and just kind of cut that out completely. And I've talked to other guys that run businesses too, and they're like, "No, that is unprofessional." So
Mhm.
there's a attitude on your end too, is like, you know, don't be cocky, like you said, just because you can fix anything, or if you go behind somebody, you know, keep that to yourself. Like, yeah, I fixed it, or whatever, but don't relay that to the customer, because then, like, if you talk bad about a previous company, a previous tech, that looks bad on you actually. So I've learned that one, because there was a manager that happened with me and my dad, because we were like, you know, we didn't like the company that was there before,
Mhm.
to be honest, but we kind of caught ourselves like talking a little bit too much about the previous company, and that turned them off too. So we had to learn that, balance that out, and kind of cut that out of that equation.
Yeah, so if I follow up a customer, I mean a company that's bad or whatever, Jim, like, oh, maybe they're just having a bad day, or maybe they weren't trained on this, or maybe they just didn't understand. I
Yeah.
try to be nice as I can about it. I got to the truck, I'm calling my coworkers like, man, this guy's a freaking idiot, dude. I don't know what they call this guy, but you never say that in front of the customer.
Yeah, you got to watch what you say, be professional, respectful. And like right here, Quentin Webb was saying that he talks to everybody like they're in the trade, because you never know who you're talking to. I had to balance that too, because before I felt like I was being too technical. Then I tried to dumb it down, but then, like, I don't want to be like, I don't know, like, either one way too much. So I try to talk to them, and I'll be honest with them. I'll tell them what I find, whether it's just something super simple, or something complicated. You know, take the time to explain to them, because they might not know how their equipment works, but maybe they've talked to enough HVAC guys where they kind of know, like,
Mhm.
if you're trying to pull one over on them. So we've had that too, where we go to places and they're like, "Now this other company, they were charging us for refrigerant every month, and they never told us there was a leak or anything." I was like, "All right, let me go check it out." You know, they catch on to things, because to me, I like, some people in the past might have gotten away with, you know, just being super general, or just being over the top technical, trying to confuse the customer, stuff like that. So be honest, because a lot of times these customers, especially now that they have YouTube and different things that they can look at too, because this is all public, they might know a thing or two, and they might catch on to you. I've known a lot of companies that lose a business because they don't explain things to the customers, or they think that they might not know something. Like I said, that company was just charging for refrigerant. They never looked for the leak or anything like that. And then they catch on. They catch on a lot quicker nowadays.
Yep. So Brett wants to know, how do we deal with when you're mad at the customer? So I just I have anger issues, and the problem is I don't do it with the customer. Like, if I get that point where I'm just frustrated or mad, I go out to my truck, I try to get away for a minute, but I never let the customer see me mad. Sometimes I may drop my shoulders, slump my shoulders, and get a little down on myself, but I try not to let the customer see that. I don't know what you do when you get in those situations, but um, I just try not to let the customer see it. I don't show it. I don't raise my voice. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to try to keep a smile on your face and keep going. I mean, sometimes it gets pretty bad, but I try not to let it get that way.
That that comes up a lot, honestly, because you know, they get upset with you over something that is out of your control, or whatever it may be. My dad was I and I kind of get it from him. He's a little bit of a hothead. You know, he doesn't like to be told certain things, and I think he had to learn, you know, running a business too, how to deal with that. Whereas before he was like, "Oh, you know, forget this, we're out," or whatever. But you really, it's like with anything, you got to be professional, because anything you say, anything you do towards them, you know, they're not going to forget it. They're going to tell other people. That's your reputation, all that stuff. So you don't want to give them any reason to talk bad about you, or, you know, catch you doing something, basically. So yeah, we if we have a customer like that, you know, we try to work with them. I think we do try to work with them a little too much, but we've kind of learned where the cutoff point is, and we just tell them, respectfully, if you want to call another company, go right ahead. This might not be working for either one of us. And sometimes you got to take a loss because they're gonna argue that last invoice or whatever it is that you did, but it's not gonna be worth it because we had that one time we were getting, well, it's happened several times honestly, but the last one I can remember, I was recommending, a lot of stuff because their equipment was beat to shit, honestly. Like leaking condenser coils, bad compressors, and I was telling them they need to replace, it's better to replace the unit than to fix it and things like that. And then they were getting into arguments with us and stuff like that. So we told them, respectfully, we're gonna just leave the work, or we're gonna leave, take a little loss on some invoices and stuff like that. But just don't lose your cool because they'll use it against you for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to fire a customer. There's some guys I know I've followed for years on social media, and he does like some gear stuff or some tactical gear stuff. And dude, it clearly says in his stuff this is all custom made to order. There's a 3-month wait time for we'll even get to make your order. If you call or email before like 120 days wanting a status update, I will cancel your order and refund you. And it's in the thing. And he'll have people like reach out to him like 3 days later. Hey, is my order done yet? And he makes videos just like ranting and like going off. He says their name and their email address. I'm like, dude,
Oh,
nuts, man. I'm like, no, I wouldn't go that far, but
yeah, we can't do that.
he does it. He gets away with it, man. But I don't know how he does
Well,
it.
that's social media for you, right? Like that's how it is. But uh, we had that difficulty at the beginning where we would try to like please our customer a little too much
Yeah,
to
put him.
where, yeah, to where like it would have been better if we had just let them go a long time ago because we're trying to bend over backwards, give them better prices, do little favors for them,
Real expectations on like when you can get there and stuff.
yeah, and it just gets to you. So if anybody, if you're in the trade, if you're opening up a business or anything like that, like just know your limits because we took on way too much work when we started too. And then we made too many promises and they wanted, and that's another thing. You got to remember how, or keep track of, you got to be friendly with these managers and people, but you can't be like too friendly to work because they're going to ask you for discounts. They're going to ask you for like a lot of stuff. You got to put your foot down. This is a price.
Mhm.
I'm very adamant about that. Like I've had this discussion with my dad too. Like, no, we need to charge this. This is the price. If it's not worth it, we're not going to make money. There's no way around it. So you got to be careful with that stuff.
So Sam wants to know how old your dad is.
Dude, I just had that question the other day. Let me do the math.
Uh-oh. So yeah, you don't want to be the cheapest in
Six,
your market.
61.
And he's still out there turning wrenches and getting dirty every day.
Dude, we try to get him out of there, dude. Like I can't wait for him to retire. Like
He ain't
as
gonna
a as a son, I can't wait for him to retire. Cause like he is out there and I get after him. I'm like, dude, get off the roof. Like he wants to work all the time, even if it's my stuff, like HVAC stuff. And but like as like a coworker, somebody that I work with, I love having him there. Like he's very knowledgeable. He helps me figure out a lot of stuff because he's very smart. He's very good on about thinking on his feet. I run into a lot of issues and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then him not even knowing HVAC, he's like, why don't we try this or why don't we try that? I'm like, damn, that might work. So like I like working with him, but man, like he's on that roof with us. He's out there working late nights still. And I mean pretty soon he's gonna have to take a back seat, but for now he's still out there. He loves what he does. He loves working. Even when I get after him, he's like, no, I want to be out there. So it is what it is.
Quentin says his dad's 72 in November and still working.
I feel like that'll be my dad too, man.
I'll be the same way. I always talk about like coming out of the field and going to the office and doing some stuff. I'm like, man, I don't know if I really want to do that. I'm like, can I like do both? Like work in the field 2 or 3 days a week and work in the office the other two, or and I don't know.
I need to get him on something like that, but he hates it. He hates being in the office. I do all the paperwork. I do all the invoicing and billing and stuff like that. So, I get that off his plate, but he likes to be out there.
That's cool. That's awesome, man. So the guy I call my dad's really my stepdad, and he was 20 years older than my mom. I mean, he was older, and he got me into this field. He went when he got me the job where I started at. He retired from there and went to work for himself. He just did a few schools and some local bars and stuff, and he started to grow before he got sick and died. But it'd be cool to work with my dad, work side by side. And when he got sick, he called my company. We went out and ran some calls for him to cover some customers. He had some stuff he couldn't get to. He felt bad when he get going. So, I went and did some of that stuff, and I was calling him. But, it'd been a different story to be working side by side with my dad. My son's one of my apprentices, my trainees, and the days I work with my son, it's a blast. I joke around with him. We do some installs together. We do some service work at night together. He calls me every day, second guessing himself because he's only been doing it a year. And, I give him a hard time, but I enjoy working with my son. So I could see, working with your dad being an absolute blast too.
That's awesome. I don't take it for granted. And just to answer Zach real quick, I do both. So I'm out there too. I just do the office stuff after hours. Um, but yeah, like I don't take it for granted. I love working with him. Granted, when we started the business, I worked with him every day or at least every week when we kind of divided and I started doing HVAC. We were still working together. We would have our lunches together. I kind of miss that stuff, but like now we're so damn busy, we're running our own calls and we're on opposite sides. Like we cover at least 2 hours each way. I'm in the middle point, 2 hours each way. So like today I had to get to a call that was like 30 to 40 minutes away because everybody else was like too far away. Like, 2 hours one way, 2 hours the other way. So, it's cool working with him. And like I said at the beginning, we worked a little more together, but now we're just so damn busy.
So Angel Morales HVACR wants to know how to get better at hot side. It's just practice, man. Just like everything else, just repetition. There's some resources out there. There's a lot of manufacturer online training. So if you notice you're seeing a lot of a certain manufacturer, get on their website, and they may have some stuff listed there, or you can email the service department. Sometimes they have some stuff they can send you as far as training. But don't be scared to reach out to manufacturers. They'll help you out, just like everything else. They want the equipment to be running, and they want you to fix it professionally. Because the more that equipment's down, the worse they look. So they're going to help you, just like the HVAC companies, refrigeration companies. They want you to get that equipment fixed as fast as possible because it makes them look better.
Yeah, and I've been told like just look at it the same way you look at like anything on the HVAC side. Like it's gas, it's mechanical mostly. The only thing you might have issues with is like if it's a computer or something.
Control,
Which
yeah,
yeah, which like my dad does that. I've seen him do it. It's just like you said, training yourself or getting out there and getting the resources. Because like I said, my dad learned on his own and he
Mhm.
got into it and he took advantage of it.
Yeah. Some of these computers on these things are amazing. But also, if you once you know how to work them, they're great troubleshooting tools too because you can test each individual component. Say, okay, I got a solenoid valve not working. You can energize that. You go to that solenoid valve, and hey, I got voltage. The valve's bad. It's pretty cool some of the stuff you can do with them.
Yeah, and I talked to him about it. Like I'll ask him like because like I said, when he gets called out, sometimes it's usually for somebody that couldn't fix it or something like that. If it's like a out of town call, and I asked him, and it's usually always something simple. He's like, no, it was something simple. I was like, I did a few things and got it going. So I want to get back into it myself because, like I said, I used to just change out parts.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really know what I was doing too much, but I do want to get back into it myself and kind of get into the at least being able to do a little bit of the hot side.
Yeah,
It's always good and you're worth more. I don't know if it was when I had you guys on, somebody said it's always good to know more and you're worth more to your company, the more things you can do. So there's that incentive as well.
yeah. The more you can do, the more you're worth. That's for dang sure. Especially working for a company. I'm not
Yeah,
sure how.
because we have a guy that does both and like he's so valuable to us because like if I can't get to an HVAC call, he goes and looks at it and he's able to fix most of them. And then if my dad can't get to a hot side call, he goes and he can fix, pretty much anything.
Yeah, it's weird. So generally, you'll get a guy that's really good at hot or really good at cold. He can kind of do the other, but to get someone that's really proficient at both, where you can just let them go, is kind of like it's like the golden ticket, man. If you get someone that can do both, they're worth their weight in gold, and you got to do what you got to do to keep them around.
Yeah, I love having him around. He's actually my uncle, and my dad trained him, and I've trained him a little bit on HVAC, and he's learned along the way just from working at other companies and stuff. And like he is so valuable to us because like he might not be the best at either one, right? If he gets stuck, he'll call my dad or he'll call me, but I can walk him through. He knows enough to do, most of the work.
Yeah. So blogger, Jason wanted a week off. I think he's kind of he's missing football on Thursday, so I think he's watching football with his wife. And then Rich got hung up at work today. You know how it is, man. You get hung up, and sometimes you just can't make it. So I'm fortunate enough where I just tell my work, hey, I have to be home by this time. I record this time, and they're pretty cool. But unless I'm stuck on something crazy, so most of the time I can get out of it though. Got to keep one in the back pocket in case you can't come on though. So we got Zaw in here. So, well, I won't keep you too much longer. There's a couple things I did want to ask you about. You've been kind of teasing about this HVAC nice thing, and I know you're not going to spill all the beans, but I got to know a little bit about it.
Yeah, if you guys, listening or watching, I have there's an HVAC Nights channel and Instagram if you guys want to go follow and stay tuned. I'm trying to work on something there. It's just going to be some fun content type of stuff. I'm still working out the details. I just want, there to be, some people following and kind of keeping up with that. I'll keep updating you guys on the details, but it's gonna be fun. The only thing is, like you said, like football season started, so it's kind of hard to get some stuff going and get these commitments and stuff. But we'll make it happen. It'll be very very soon.
Is this channel number 3 for you?
I don't remember, dude.
So if you don't know,
Oh yeah, because I do the content one because I get asked all the time, like, how do I do my content? Should I do it? And I started a channel for content creation. That's just like for fun for me. Like I'll get to it when I get to it. I've been really busy this year, so I'm trying to post on it. But like that's just from, like I said, guys asking me so much. Like, and I encourage it. I want guys posting about whatever work they do because we need it. A lot of guys either need the help or need their kids, and they see it. If you show it in a good light, or that it's cool, or that it makes you good money. Like I want more kids to know about it. So I'm always telling people, go for it. And I'm an open book. If you want to know how I do my stuff, I'm gonna start, posting about it, telling people, what worked for me, basically.
yeah, I've learned quite a few things off of there, like the watermark thing, people stealing your stuff. You know how to make it like the opacity of it. I was like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. So now I'm doing that on making it put in. I don't know if
Yeah, after I posted that, somebody messaged me and he was so upset because he doesn't even have a TikTok. And somebody told him that all like his videos are popping up and that account's getting a whole bunch of followers. And he's like, what the hell? He's like, I should have watermarked my stuff. I'm like, yeah, because I started doing that because my stuff gets stolen all the time. Right now, that new logo that I had, I've been seeing it pop up everywhere. And then on YouTube, somebody is using like my tool review shorts. So I've had that happen, and it's like the worst feeling. So, I try to tell people like all the things that I went through. I'm trying to just kind of make people aware of it because this content creation is like you said, another job, something that you invest in. It sucks when you get your stuff stolen. So
Yeah, I've learned a lot from you, so I always try to watch that channel. I try to catch up on my friends' YouTube channels, like when I'm on the treadmill, I'm out in my barn. I got a big TV out there, and I turn it on, so I'm on the treadmill. I scroll through, I watch Chris's stuff, I watch all your stuff.
yeah, I try to too, and I have a good list of guys that I watch. Everybody that live streams during the week. Um, there's a whole bunch on YouTube, like Chris Stevens, like you said, Rick, everything HVACR. Like I just saw that comment.
Mm-hmm.
HVAC time. There's Cooling with Kraus.
Crap,
There's Hughes. There's
dude.
Hughes, man. I love all those guys.
Yeah, they're all great stuff, man. It's like we talked about earlier. The community. This community is it's pretty cool. So
Yeah, and I think Ben is doing a good job. Bringing us together, and motivating people. I feel like after the last award show, there was a whole jump in content from people.
Dude, it wasn't even Friday yet. People were like stepping up their game. So the show was
I
like
know.
the show was Sunday, the award show. We had the AHR for 3 days. And it was like Friday. All of a sudden, these guys come out of nowhere with like bangers. I'm like, where'd these guys come
Yeah.
from, man? Like your shit last week sucked. Now all of a sudden, it's like, man, what happened? And like these guys are stepping it up, man. I'm excited to see what's going to happen next year. With
Yeah,
the
it's gonna be good.
It's going to be a blast. I know you're not looking forward to Chicago in January, but
I'm a Texas guy, you know, going to one of the coldest places probably, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna get like
it's,
I'm just
it's,
gonna be in shock as soon as I get there.
it's going to be like an 80-degree temperature swing for you. It's going to be
Oh
stupid.
yeah,
No, you're like,
only.
this crap.
Yeah, it's still it's like 101 when I got out of work right before the stream started. It was still 101. I've been on roofs all day. Like it's hot.
Not me. I had a pretty easy day. I had the trainee with me today. We did a bunch of fryers, not filtering. I had a couple of those and some other stuff. So I let him get dirty. He was struggling taking stuff apart, and then I go down there and like I'm like, no, turn it this way, turn your wrench this way, and like he's down there and he wants to use my old blue channel locks. I'm like, and I've got all Knipex stuff, and he's like, why don't you use these? I'm like, because those are like when I'm taking something apart, it's hot, and I don't want to burn up my Knipex. I use those.
Yeah.
He's over there sliding, and the teeth are all worn off. I'm like, oh, here, use this. And, just showing him how to do it. It's been a blast. But some days I'm like, I don't want a trainee. I will say the dude cannot stay awake. As soon as he hits that passenger seat, dude, he's out. And it drives me nuts. I'm driving down the highway and I'm like shaking the van, trying to like bounce his head off the window. And I'm like turning the radio up real loud. I'm slamming on the brakes. I'm like, dude, you gotta stay awake. Oh, I'm trying. I'm like, dude, you didn't make it 3 minutes. You ain't trying.
Man, I used to be that person. Like when I started working with my dad, like I said, I was proud of him. I was happy, you know, all that. But like, you know, actually going to work, I was not super enthusiastic. And I wasn't into it like the way I am now. And then I had to deal with it with my brother when he came in. I'm like, oh, now I gotta, you know, he's always up late at night. He's always sleepy in the morning. And you know, my dad had to put up with that with me when I started. Now I got to put up with it with my brother. So
Nice. So someone asked about how to make a watermark. Check out. Well, go ahead and tell them where to go find it.
well, I had to change the name because I didn't like the way it sounded, but it's keep it simple content.
Uh-oh.
I'll if you go to my channel or my Instagram, it's linked, so you can always go to the bio and just check it out. As far as like yeah, as far as that, I have videos on watermarking content, how I edit, how I go about making content. Watermark is just something that you want to put on there and make it a little transparent, but you want people to know that that's your content. Because, like I said, I've always thought of it. I've always tried to think of things before they happen. That's the way I always did my channel, my Instagram back in the day. Like I would watermark stuff before people even knew who I was, just because I was like, at some point, somebody might take it, and then it happens. And it happens a lot now. And now I can actually people will tell me like I saw your video, I saw your logo. Um and I watermark the videos, the photos, like everything. Like my name has to be on it.
Yep, I put the link in the chat, so it should pop up.
Yeah, I see it.
So Quentin, I have to hit this because I have sleep apnea. So he said, hell, I fall asleep I'm the driver. So when I first started this, I weighed like 220 pounds. 3 years later, I ballooned up to 3 plus. Um, I leave one job, works more for 6 months. They end up closing the shop. I bounced around for a couple of years, and I kept falling asleep, dude. I was in like 8 wrecks in a period of like 18 months, dude. I'd rear end people. I drove off the road to tell people
Mm.
to like 70 miles an hour. I'd I'd fall asleep in a parking lot turning, and I'd run into the yellow post. I mean, I got fired from 3 places. And they're like, man, you can fix anything. You're just uninsurable. So if you're falling asleep driving or in the van, dude, get that shit checked, man, because that shit not only is it dangerous for you to be driving, but it's killing you when you sleep. You quit breathing, your heart rate skyrockets. Take care of yourself, man.
Yeah, and we don't like to admit any of that stuff or get help, but I mean, that's some serious stuff. You got to watch out for that. I don't have anything that serious. I used to get sleepy on long drives. You know, somebody told me about the sunflower seed trick. I would, you know, have sunflower seeds readily available just so I wouldn't fall asleep. Recently, I got into energy drinks, but I try to get like the safer ones, not the ones full of all these other stuff. I've had some that make me feel like very weird, and
Yeah, I
I stay away from those.
Yeah, I do zero sugar a lot. Sunflower seeds were my go-to.
Yeah.
Cup, I just spit them in the cup driving down the road. A
And
lot of,
that helped me a lot when I started. Like a friend of mine told me that. I'm like, I'm gonna try that, and it worked really good.
but when I first started, I smoked, so I just chain
Oh,
smoked.
okay.
So I just chain smoke, and now I mean I haven't smoked in 13 years, so it's cool. So all right, I won't keep you on because we're approaching an hour. Go ahead
No
and plug
problem.
all your stuff, and then we will get out of here.
Well, you can find me on any platform now. I mostly post on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube under Reliable HVACR. If you guys want to check out some new content towards the end of the year or maybe very soon, check out HVAC Nights on YouTube and Instagram.
Tuesday.
And I got some things planned out. So just follow me and I'll be posting about stuff.
Yep. Make sure you follow him everywhere. I'm sure you guys are, because I've never had this many people in here interacting. So I'm sure you guys followed him over, not me. So, but make sure you guys come to Chicago for AHR 2024. You'll be able to catch Adrian there. You'll be able to catch all kinds of guys there, all kinds of influencers. There's podcasts, tool manufacturers, equipment manufacturers. It's an absolute blast. If you've never been to AHR, I highly suggest going. If you've never been to Tactical Awards, that's going to be a good time. Once the tickets are released to general public, get them fast because it's going to sell out. It sells out every year. So make sure you guys check out HVAC Tactical for that. So thanks for
Yeah,
everything.
I'll be there. I'll be at the Veto booth. You already know. I've already said that, but I'll be there. It's a great place. I met a lot of great people at the last one. I'm gonna try and be there a little longer this time. I think I only did 1 day last time this early this year. So it's a 3-day event, besides the award show, and you really need all those days to get in, to get it, to see everybody and to see everything.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you buddy up with some of these manufacturers because they have some pretty wild parties and a lot of fun. So,
Oh yeah, I got to take advantage of all that stuff.
so all right, man. Have a good night.
All right, man.
See you. This episode is brought to you by Viega. As an industry leader, Viega is committed to providing continued support for trades education and is a proud sponsor of the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles podcast. If you guys would, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the podcast. It really helps us grow and helps us know which direction to move in. Also, if you have any suggestions for guests, please email me at commercialkitchenchronicles@gmail.com. Or if you want to be a guest, email me. Love to have you guys on. Thanks a lot. See you next week.